Welcome to the Tullahoma at Work podcast. My name is Lyle Russell. I am your communications manager for the city of Tullahoma. Do you know I had a title change?
No.
I used to be community engagement officer. Now I'm communication manager.
I did not know that. I'm usually
stuff.
the last to know that stuff. So
that just happened a couple days ago.
Well, congratulations.
So welcome to the podcast today, and I am very excited to have in studio with me today the man, the myth, the legend, Rocky Ruehling from Tullahoma Police Department.
Thank you very much for having me. Such an honor. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Glad you're here.
I'm tickled to death.
Yeah, so we usually start this show out with a hard-hitting question, but I'm going to change it a little bit because I felt like I was restricting some of my previous guests. So we're going to look at ice cream flavors.
I figured that was what you were going to do.
Yeah, so you're going to the store after work. It's been a long shift, and you just need it. What flavor are you getting?
Well, the only answer to that is chocolate, right? I mean, nobody else has said anything else, right? Surely we don't have anybody that works for Tullahoma that's picked strawberry.
That would be my answer.
That would be yours.
Strawberry.
So you're the type of person that'll put coleslaw on a barbecue sandwich, ain't you?
Oh, gross. No.
Okay, well.
I love coleslaw. I love barbecue, and I love sandwiches, but not all together.
Okay, well, it's not as bad then. Next thing you're going to tell me, though, is you put pineapple on pizza. See, now that we're going to be a problem with that.
No, I don't like that either.
We're fine then.
Yeah, but I can't do chocolate ice cream. Just not my thing.
Well, that's just not right.
I have, however, though, become a little bit addicted to a salted caramel gelato.
I never had it, but that sounds awesome.
It's fancy ice cream, but it's good. It's well worth it.
That sounds a little bit above my pay grade. I mean, a gelato.
That's right, gelato. You have to say it correctly.
Yeah, we just have ice cream where I'm from.
Yeah, well, that's what I started out with too, but it was strawberry. My grandmother, she used to get the old bricks of ice cream, and she would always get Neapolitan. And every time I would go in there, the only thing that would be left was vanilla and strawberry.
And there's a reason for that. So your grandmother was okay, but there's a reason why that flavor is left.
Maybe it's because I was deprived as a child. I don't know.
My childhood was great, and so we had chocolate ice cream.
Yeah, no such luck here, but that's all right. We're not here to talk about ice cream. We're here to talk about Rocky.
Why not? I'm okay with talking about ice cream.
Yeah, well, that works too. All right, so I invited you on the show. I'm glad you accepted, and we have one particular hobby in common, and it's one that we're sitting here talking about right now.
Absolutely.
That would be podcasting, but we're going to get to that one in a second.
Okay.
I want to go back to another question I usually ask everybody at the start of the show, and that is, tell me your Tullahoma story. How did you get here, or what brought you to Tullahoma?
Well, Tullahoma, obviously not romanticizing it. You got a police officer looking for a place to go, and I'd worked for a couple of places, and they were fine, but wasn't going to be my home. And I started with Tullahoma in December of 2010 and fell in love. And that's where I stayed. It wasn't a love thing at first. It was a job. It was, okay, Tullahoma offered me a job. I took it, and it's been a love of mine ever since. In fact, I wake up every morning and think what an honor it is to have that opportunity every day for such awesome people here in Tullahoma, the businesses, the people. We couldn't be happier as a family, living here and working here. Mm-hmm.
So you're not originally from here, though.
I am not from here. Can you not tell that?
Your accent?
My accent, I know. You probably think I'm from New York.
No, so where are you from, though, really?
Grundy County, Grutley Logger, Tennessee.
Oh, so not that far away.
But up in the sticks. You gotta go up all the way where you think you can't go any further and go a little bit further.
It is beautiful up there, though.
It is very beautiful up there. I do miss growing up in Grutley Logger. The only thing about Grutley, though, was it's smaller communities, not a lot of jobs.
Sure.
And so if you're wanting to go and try to get a good career, matter of fact, my first few jobs were nowhere near Grundy, and I had to drive a long way. So. Didn't have a lot of jobs up there, and that's why I had to move off the mountain. But so I miss Grutley, love the people up there, but came to Tullahoma, and I fell in love here.
All right, well, fair enough. So you started out up there. Were you a police officer up there as well?
No. I was not. My first love, and this will go back to what we're going to talk about later, was radio, television, broadcasting. My first job ever was a small radio station up there in Tracy City, and that was a radio. In a small radio station, you do just about every job there is. And that's what I was 13 years old when I started and working. I worked there. I made it all the way up to the WRCB Channel 3 in Chattanooga. Not on air.
Sure.
I was behind the scenes pushing all the buttons, doing the
real
working
work.
on, which I love. Which I love. You would think that, as a host of podcasts that I like to be in front of the microphone. Well, it's fun, but I also have just as much fun behind the scenes doing stuff for everybody else. So, it was a great learning experience for me, but I just got about as far as I could go in that. And it came time, family needing that extra, what am I trying to say? Cushion, stability. Thank you. Thank you, Lyle, for telling me that. Stability. And that's when I decided to go ahead and go for my love. I left radio and television, decided to be a police officer. My mom and dad thought I was nuts. And of course, I am. I'm not going to say I'm not. And back then, nobody was hiring. Mm-hmm. Everybody was filled up to the brim. You couldn't get a job policing as an uncertified officer. So I sent myself through. Okay. My mom helped me, and I sent myself through academy. And I started out in Cowan, and I stayed in Cowan for about 6 years. And I stayed in another town for a little bit until they told me to leave. And then I came to Tullahoma, and I've been here ever since. 16 years, just about.
All right. So 2010. Yeah, that'd be about right. I moved here in 2007. I didn't start with the city till a few years later, but so I've been around here almost the same amount.
Where was you from?
Originally Tampa, Florida.
Oh, I would never have thought that.
No, most people don't. I always tell people, they think Tennessee's the South, but I'm actually from further south than all of y'all are.
Is Florida considered the South? I mean, does people think about the South being Tampa, Florida?
It's like New York South.
Oh, okay. I mean, you have a lot. You have like a fascination with owls and stuff like that. So, they didn't have that all in Tampa, Florida, did they?
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't work with birds of prey when I was down there, but we have them. They're everywhere. If you've got water, you've got eagles and ospreys. If you've got woods, you're going to have owls and hawks. So,
well, I mean, I guess so. I just didn't think of Florida and owls, being in the same sentence. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, a lot of the native ones up here are also native to pretty much the entire Southeast. So yeah.
Well, good deal.
Yeah. So, did you always want to be a police officer? Was that always in the periphery of your radio years?
I always wanted to be in radio and television. And I knew, I was 13, like I said, 16 years old, and I knew I was going to settle for about $1 billion career in radio and television.
Just aiming small.
It's just mid-level. Unfortunately, that didn't work. I don't think it had anything to do with the small list that I had for being on the radio. But, it's just radio, especially small town radio, is very, very difficult to be able to, move, be able to, make a little bit of money at. And so I had to kind of face the fact that maybe the radio television career wasn't going to be it. So that's why I decided to go for my next love, about the same. Which was policing. I always wanted to help people. I always wanted to do the things that somebody else didn't want to do. I wanted to be the person. I always saw myself as the person that was going to show up and try to make it all better in all aspects. Have I done that have I hit 100% every time? No, but I've tried.
Right. So there is a little bit of an A for effort in that.
I've got the A for effort. But I don't know where the rest of it's going to lie.
So do you still have the radio voice? Do you still pull it out every now and then?
I do it for my wife sometimes, and she hates it. I do it I do it to drive her crazy. I love you, honey, but I do it just to drive her crazy because I will. There'll be a song coming off on the radio, like if we're listening to Bob Seger, and before the next song comes on, I'll get on there and it's like, and that was Bob Seger right here on W whatever, and she hates it. She'll actually like turn the radio off just to get me to shut up. So again, love you, baby.
Well, I think you and I are pretty close in age. I'm an 80s kid. And I remember, see if you remember this. So same thing. I wanted to be in broadcast radio. I wanted to be a DJ. I wanted to meet all the musicians and all that stuff.
Is DJ even a term anymore?
Only in a club, maybe, where you're spinning records.
Anyways, I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay, because I'm not sure that it is. I've learned now you could even run a radio station from your house.
And I would love to do. I did that at one time, but again, it cost money to do that. I don't do well with sales. Nothing against salesmen, please, but I don't like the idea of going and asking people for money.
Right.
And I know that salesman is a great job, but it's not me.
There are people who were born to do it, and I'm not one either.
And I'm not either. And you have to, if you don't have your salesman, you don't have that.
That's true. That's fair. That's fair. So, but that's what I wanted to do. And I remember when I was in my early teen years, my grandmother, who ate all the chocolate ice cream, also got me a tape recorder, just a plain old, desktop, press the buttons and it records. And I had an alarm clock radio, played my favorite radio station, Q105, for you who lived down in Tampa or knew what that was. And I would flip that recorder upside down on top of the speaker where the little input microphone was, just to be able to record the songs when they came on that I wanted to hear.
Oh, yeah. I think everybody's done that part. I actually went a little bit further. I had my mom buy me a couple of cassette players, and then I'd put a song in one, and then I would do the whole DJing and then go to the other one. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah! I completely.
You were transitioning song to song.
Completely nerded it out. I mean, 100%.
Yeah, that's so. Now that we now have a love of podcasting, so I have tried to remember that radio voice that I practiced all the time for when I do my podcast. And it's a little bit different setup, I guess, if you will. Mine's more of a narrative speaking, and yours you typically will interview somebody. But so let's talk about that. So
okay.
Podcasting. What got you into it? Other than obviously your love of radio.
The love of radio. Again, I don't have that radio, because me talking, I don't have that radio voice. And you don't want it whenever you're doing this right here, because that would be annoying. Can you imagine? Where exactly are you coming from, Lyle? You wouldn't want that. But I love talking to people, number one. That's great. I love broadcasting, just even the behind the scenes. Like I said, I love the schematics of how a transmitter puts out the signal on an FM signal or an AM signal. AM back in the day, y'all won't know what that is, but back in the day. And it was just, I was just fascinated by the whole thing. And podcasting is about as close as I can get to it today. And I also saw a couple of opportunities. And I'll tell you this one thing, because it's kind of what I went and lived by. I'm sure there was a time in your career that you always felt like you were being put off to the side, or you wasn't being utilized in the way that you felt like you could. And it was frustrating. And I went through that. And I won't go into detail, but I went through that a little bit at one time in my life. And somebody told me, and I don't even remember who it was, but they said, if you're not invited to the table, build your own table. And that stuck.
Free advice, kids.
That stuck with me, like really got me. It's like, okay, well, if I'm not going to be invited to the table, I'm going to build my own. And that's when I went up to my wife and talked to her, and we started the podcasting venture. And what got me started, first of all, is obviously the policing. A lot of misinformation is out there. And I know you probably know that. You probably see it everywhere. There's a lot of misinformation when it comes to policing. And I figured that if I had a local podcast, which I love to do, and then do my next thing that I love to do, talk about first response, policing, stuff like that, then maybe I can kill two birds with one stone. And that's when I came up with Tennessee Roll Call. And I'm on my 13th episode coming up here in a little bit.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, man. I've had such a good time with it. And I think my guests, the way I don't know if you've seen any of the episodes yet, but I have. But some of the guests that I've had, they're so smart, and they know, and they were able to answer these questions that people ask me all the time on the road, and now they're getting it right here. And so I love that. We just started a podcast for the city of Tullahoma on the police department side.
Right. What's that one called?
It's called Tullahoma Police Briefing.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, ChatGPT, for that. It's kind of the same thing, but it's more localized. Tennessee Roll Call is Tennessee wide, whereas Tullahoma is strictly, we talk about the operations at the police department. And Chief Chase Sons, Deputy Chief Jason Kennedy have been super in letting me take that ball and run with it. And I just can't thank them enough for letting me do that. I think it came to a point to where transparency was a huge deal. You know, people want to know what's going on in their backyard. And we might not have been as transparent as we needed to be. Mm-hmm. And this corrected that. And
now, but to hit on that point, though, you bring up something that gets thrown to my office quite a bit is about transparency. Mm-hmm. And you say that maybe not being transparent as you need to be. It's not necessarily that you're hiding anything.
Right.
It's just that you just don't always tell everybody everything. And that's something that I see in my role now is doing communications for the city, that we'll get requests and questions about things that to us, it's obvious. Mm-hmm. We know the answer to that, but that public-facing component is hard because not everybody has the same understanding of city operations that we do. I would imagine it's probably even harder in a police setting because of the type of things that y'all have to deal with. It's not necessarily all for public consumption. And so you let out as much information as you can to not interfere with any criminal cases or, protecting victims and so on. So it's got to be even harder in a police setting.
There are there's a couple of things. Number one, there's some information we just can't give out. There's active criminal investigations. We're not going to be able to give a whole lot of information on that for obvious reasons. Anything dealing with juveniles, we're not talking about it. It ain't going anywhere. And so that's one aspect of it. The other is if you don't think about it, you don't do it, and that's something. It's like, okay, we know what's going on. If you don't make a conscious effort to be transparent with everybody else, then they're going to be left not knowing, and you don't know to tell them.
Right.
So that was a meeting that come up. That was an issue, and that's why the podcast we did that is to try to fill that gap in transparency, to try to give people the information and to tell people why we can't give certain information,
sure,
which most people understand anyway.
Right.
We're not going to be able to talk about a bad incident that happened the night before because there's too much out there that we can't give up for the criminal case.
Well, there may just be some things too that you just don't know yet.
Yeah.
And it's really, from a PIO perspective, it is really bad to speculate. Talk about what you know. Don't talk about what you don't know.
No. Well, I quit that speculating alone. Well, I learned that in my first marriage. But anyway. But yeah, no, you don't want to speculate.
That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah. Coming up later at 9. But no. Yeah.
Well, let's go backwards. So now Tennessee Roll Call. So we know the name, and this is your personal project. That one's not the city project.
No, that's not the city project. That is mine. It's on tnrollcall.com if I can do a shameless plug.
Absolutely. That's what we're here for.
Well, I appreciate that. It's tnrollcall.com. There's not much to the website. There's a banner, and it's got my beautiful face on there. And underneath it just shows you the places where it's available, like, the YouTube, the TikToks, and
Spotify, I assume.
Amazon. Just got picked up by Apple Video.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you very much. So it's going out everywhere, and a lot of people seem to really enjoy it. But again, I'm just pushing the buttons and asking the questions. It's the people I have on. It's their show. It's my attitude. I want me very little in it.
And so now, when you get these people on the show, I know it's typically first responder centric. Give the folks who are watching kind of the format. What can they expect if they pull up your show? What are they going to see? They're
going to see a lot of great people. Is what they're going to see, and it's not just like I had an episode one time. There's this just wonderful young lady who had a unfortunate wreck with somebody that had been under the influence of methamphetamine.
I've watched this episode. But keep going.
Yeah, and she was so just awesome about all of the experiences that she had. And I'll tell you the quick experience that I had, because I actually worked that wreck. Now, this could have gone on Tullahoma Police Briefing because it happened here. But what happened was, as I was the one that worked that wreck, and when I walked up to her, she was in this smashed van. I mean, and I saw this little face just completely trapped in this van. And I'm walking up to the van, and I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but this woman is dead. There's no other way around it. And when I walk up there, and I have to check off the box,
sure,
ma'am,
right,
ma'am. She actually responded back to me and said, "Yeah, I'm here." And I was like floored, because there's no way this woman is alive. Number one. And second, she's going to have to get cut out of this car. She's already just completely injured. You can see that. Well, at one point, after I'm talking to her, because I'm working the wreck. I ain't got time to sit there and talk to, to focus on her. We've got everybody else down there to do that. I tell her, I was like, well, I'm going to get back with you in a little bit. EMS is going to help you, and I will come back to you in a minute. She tells me, I'll be right here. She is sitting there joking while being crashed up in this what used to be a car or a van. And
before anybody gets upset about this is a story that she told herself on his show. So don't think we're giving you information that we shouldn't be talking about. She said this herself.
Well, that's what makes it so wonderful is the fact that she did come I've actually had her, because I'm a DUI instructor here at the police department, and I had her come speak to the other officers about, how important it is that we do these DUI investigations. Mm-hmm. And we get Chief Chase Sons gave her a challenge coin for doing that for us.
Awesome.
Her name is Christine Montoya, and she is just absolutely outstanding. And I was able to have her on the show, and her husband was there, because the husband, you don't want to discount what him and the family went through.
Oh yeah, you got a whole experience going here, not just the person who went through it, but
it wasn't just her. It was the husband. It was the kids. And what made the episode so just awesome is, she put her feelings out there. She said, "This is what I would have missed if that day would have been my day to go." Mm-hmm. And she talked about her daughter's wedding and their kids' graduations from college and stuff like that. And it really made you sit back and it's like, okay, this ain't my show.
Exactly.
This ain't the Rocky Ruehling show. This is your show now, who I've got here, because that is just incredible. And that's what I'm saying. Whenever you log onto the show, you're not seeing my show. You're seeing these great people, first responders from all aspects, dispatchers, police officers, firefighters. My last episode we had was a school nurse. People wouldn't even think of putting them.
I haven't watched that one yet, but I saw it. So.
People wouldn't even think of immediately putting a school nurse in as a first responder. But they are. If a kid gets hurt at school, what's the first person that's going to be dealing with them? It's going to be that school nurse.
Right.
And wonderful episode on that. We got the one from Farrah Elementary.
Oh yeah.
For that one, and that's a great episode. And again, nothing I did. Her.
Right. And I think that's the cool concept behind that, is because you're talking to people. These are people you're going to see in Walmart, or you might be getting gas next to them right down the road here. It's not like these are far-flung places where you're pulling out these extraordinary stories. These are people that live right here.
Right here in town.
Yeah.
Well, right here in our area. But like I said, I went to Franklin County some. I've gone Moore County. We have a great area. When it comes to first responders, we really do rock it. And I'm not talking about on my perspective. I'm talking about from EMS to our fire department here. Just everybody, it's like a well-oiled machine. We know what the job is and we do it. Even the most terrible jobs that we have to deal with, we get it done. And I'm just thankful to be a small part of it and can add to it and promote it through my podcast.
Right. So if you want to check out Tennessee Roll Call with your host right here, Rocky Ruehling.
Hi.
You can find it on all the major platforms right now. It's on YouTube. It's on Amazon, all that good stuff.
I hate to brag, but I have 73 subscribers right now on YouTube.
That's awesome.
73. I know. I should be paid for this right here, but it's all right.
I got my pen. I'll write you a check.
Thank you so much.
All right, so now so that one's your private world one. So now, but you do one for the police department as well. Tell us if we watch that one, what can we expect? Well, first, the name of it again is
Tullahoma Police Briefing.
Okay.
And it is pretty much, and Chief Sons is the one that came up with the idea of how to structure it. A lot of times, whenever we ask for something in the budget, a lot of people don't know why we're asking for that particular item or why it is that it costs that much. And this was another way of being transparent, of being able to say, okay, we're asking for this at the next board meeting, and here's why we need it, and here's why it costs this much. And it kind of just lets people in on, where their tax dollars are going with the police department.
Right.
And so it drops every Monday, the day of the board meeting. So therefore, I try to get it done first thing in the morning. and get it started by 6 o'clock in the morning. That way you have all day to be able to see what the police department is asking for budget wise. And then you get to tune into the meeting that's going to be on LightTube. And so that's the whole aspect of that. And then we tried to incorporate other things, as far as if we have any big news that would be of interest to people of an incident that happened, we try to talk about that. Not too long ago, we had a burglary of a business where a guy backed his truck into the business and stole the ATM.
I remember that one.
Yeah, and our officers were right on top of it. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to think of the officer that pulled him over. I can't remember. But anyways, officers.
I have his picture on our social media page where they were issued letters of commendation from Chief Son. So.
Absolutely, because it was just a phenomenal job. They were right there on top of it. This guy and this guy was like wanted in other places for similar behavior.
Right.
And this is stuff that if we didn't tell it, people wouldn't know.
Right.
So again, this is part of the stories that come out for that. We try to not hit some of the things that would be interesting, like when it comes to arrests that are made, things of that nature, because it's just not that show.
Right.
There are other places, and there are other
it's not Mobile Patrol.
There are other places and other platforms that will give you that, and that's just not the platform we've chosen to go with. We want to be more informational, and so not more or less the entertainment of who did what on Monday.
Right.
So that's what you're going to get.
Okay. Well, good. Well, you can also check that one out on the same platforms, or where is that one?
It's going to be that's on our Facebook page, on the Tullahoma Police Facebook. And I do make mentions of it on Roll Call as well, but I mean, it's pretty much its own entity.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so let me shift gears just a second before we talk about, if you want to talk about the third one that you're working on.
I will talk about whatever I'm an open book.
All right. Before we get to that one, though, just want to get your take on this. So you may not know this. My wife is a hospice nurse. And so it's kind of a heavy career.
I did not know that, but I see y'all on social media a lot. And it's just like a fairy tale story.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a good hope.
I appreciate that. I hope she feels that way too.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
So that's a heavy career. And I know some of the folks out there watching may have also had a heavy career. Anytime you're in medical or first response, there's going to be moments that are just rough.
Of course.
So for my wife, she had to pick up some kind of hobby to get that heaviness off of her. So falconry happened to be that. And, now we've turned it into wildlife rehabilitation. But for you as a police officer, do you find that podcasting is one of those outlets for you to?
Well, it's kind of funny you said that, because it was suggested to me at one time when, because it does, we don't talk about it. It's not anything, I'm comfortable talking about. But yeah, police work, first responder work has a tendency to wear on you. Okay. I mean, the gray hair tells it, I'm sure. And I was going to get a haircut today before actually doing this, but I didn't want the shine of this to mess up with the camera.
That's right. They're getting plenty of glare off of mine over here. So.
It was suggested to me that I do, that I come up with some, this is way before the podcast thing. And it was suggested to me that I do hobbies to try to, and I tried a bunch of it. I tried metal detecting, coin collecting. I did this really dumb hobby of whittling, but actually making something.
Oh, yeah.
That's rocky with a sharp object, and that is not smart. That was not good.
Noted for next time.
I have got scars on my hands from my hobby. Okay, I got hurt more, I think, with that than I did police work. And I actually had to give it to my father-in-law and say, keep this away from me, because it was horrible. But anyway, but yeah, hobbies are what you use to health-wise, the more healthy way of putting what you did that day behind you. There are some stories that there are some things I will never talk about.
Sure.
There's some things I can't talk about just because I don't have that strength. I'm not the Christine Montoya in the van that day. I'm not strong enough personally to talk about some of those things, because of the effect that they have.
Sure.
But not to drag the whole thing down. But,
No.
But you have to have that hobby.
I asked the question, so I figured that's what was coming. So.
Yeah. So now we're going to do the down hour. Cue the music.
But I mean, even for a non-stressful, I wouldn't say that my career is non-stressful, but I mean, I obviously don't go through the same things a police officer or a firefighter do, but I probably have undiagnosed ADD because I have so many hobbies. But
well, anytime, and I'm not meaning this bad, anytime you're dealing in the public, okay, there's going to be stress involved.
Of course.
Yeah. I'd dare to go 98, 99% of the people I deal with are awesome, pleasant. I mean, I'm better for knowing them.
Right.
Then there's that 1%. And if you're that 1%, you know who you are. Okay. There's that 1% that makes the hair that much grayer. So, and it's stress, and it causes stress. You know, it's one thing to want to come to you with a problem, a legitimate problem, and try to work it out together. It's another thing to just want to gripe about something all the time. And that's unfortunately the 1% that we get. So,
yeah, well, and to go back to something you said earlier, how do I word it where it makes sense? You have these moments where there's things that you can't talk about. There's things that you don't want to talk about. But then there's other times where you just got to get it out. And you were talking about your love of radio and wanting to be in broadcasting. Have you found that this is that opportunity for the things that you can or want to talk about? This is how you get it out.
This is it.
Spoken word right here.
This is it. What we're doing right now is my therapy. And and going back to what we were talking about, I'm gonna name drop somebody, Jessica Taylor, an investigator that we have here. And then
superstar. Absolute superstar.
Unbelievable talent she has of being able to take care of especially, her job requires her to deal with a lot of child-based investigations, some of the worst.
Right.
And she puts out this just loving, caring nature about her. She's absolutely awesome. And I feel like, and I have before, I've gone to Jessica with, okay, I'm not dealing with this well. Will you hear me for a minute? And she shuts everything off and just pays attention to me. Same thing, I have the same relationship with Brooke Arthur, who's our training lieutenant.
Yeah.
I feel like I can go to her and tell her anything, and having those relationships are very important. And I would mention that was a way to kind of cope with it as well.
Right.
But podcasting, yeah, absolutely. It is it is a way that I can kind of release a little bit.
What other kind of hobby? You talked about metal detecting. You got whittling, which we don't do anymore.
Yeah, no,
we don't discuss whittling.
No,
anymore.
Please don't. Please, that goes in the same section as strawberry ice cream.
What else have you tried? Anything else come to mind?
No, I've been married to a wonderful woman. Her name's Michelle, and I've been married to her. We don't know how long we've been married. It was 2013, but we always have to keep asking ourselves, how many years ago was that? Okay, because we never know when we celebrate our anniversary. We have to sit there at the table.
Well, the simple math is 13 right now, but go ahead.
I don't do simple math, you know that. But with my wife, and then we had 4 kids, and one of our kids is autistic, and so it's really a full-time job with the family. I love them; they're great, but I mean it's a full-time job there, and they're all doing outstanding. And of course, all of our chicks have pretty much fled the nest when it comes to they're all adults now,
right?
And so you can't really So you got me and Michelle looking at each other at the house, and you're just like, okay, what no kids around, so what do we do now?
Yeah, she help you do the podcast at all, or she help you?
She's my cheerleader.
Okay.
She is
a very important role, by the way.
Well, she's my cheerleader in life. Would not want to do this, could not do this without Michelle. She's the one that encouraged me to move forward with my podcasting goals. She's the one that said, "Yeah, it's okay. Let's put a little bit of a financial investment into it." And even in policing, stressful days. Tullahoma is a great place to work. Great place to work, but come on, you're going to have times when you come on. It's like, I'm leaving tomorrow or something like. And she keeps me.
We all have those days.
and she keeps me level headed. You know, Tullahoma, great place to work. I wouldn't want to work anywhere else than here. But you know, we have those days, and she keeps me grounded on that. And so she's my cheerleader. Couldn't ask for better.
That's excellent. And you mentioned, you know, a little bit of an investment. So, you know, you can see the setup we have here. Rocky has a very similar setup for his show. I've seen it. But podcasting is actually, if you look at the mediums that are available to you, you know, when you scroll through social media, almost all of it now is video content, where for a time it was just written word. Then it was pictures. Now it's videos. And then, of course, TikTok dropped it down to about 8 to 12 second video.
I think you're thinking about Vine.
Could be.
Vine did like the 7-second. TikTok is pretty much. I mean, it's shorter videos. You don't normally would go to TikTok for a 30-minute show,
right?
But it is shorter video. But I think Vine was like your 7-second thing. But that was back in the early 20s.
Well, when I was at Parks and Rec, we talked about doing a rec podcast, and so that was where the idea first started coming up of doing one for the city, and kind of how this got morphed into what it is now. But it's not a real expensive. There's not a high dollar threshold that stops you from doing it.
Right.
It's not. I mean, you can spend a lot, but you can also spend just a little bit and still make a really compelling show. Good quality product.
You don't need. It depends on what kind of product you're going after. You don't. I mean, to get started, all you would pretty much need is this right here.
Everything can be done on that.
Everything can be done right here, but you're not going to get the quality that you would want. So you want to go out and put a little bit of effort into. As a matter of fact, the camera that I'm using for my podcast came from your recommendation.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I wish I could have put you on there as something else where you could have got something out of it, because it was your recommendation that made me buy that.
Yeah. It was a high fee consultant.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Well, you needed it because I actually went out and got it, and you know, picture quality is great and all that. So, and you want, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing right.
Agreed.
And so,
absolutely.
And so, that's why I wanted to invest a little bit of money, and my wife supported me with that.
Yeah. And you have run with it. You know, you've got 2 shows now, very successful, and you've got a third on the horizon.
I've got a third.
Are you ready to talk about it?
I'm ready to talk about it.
Well, tell us what your third show is going to be.
Thank you so much. I feel like this is just like an awesome opportunity that you're giving me here, just to put it out there.
Well, before you go on then, let me tell you why. In Tullahoma, we have, and this is just Lyle talking, this isn't Lyle from City of Tullahoma talking. Tullahoma has an incredibly rich history, not just in, you know, like national events and things like that, but just this 24.5 square miles of ground has amazing stories within it. I mean, that's not even going into Moore County or Bedford or anything else. That's just this little bitty town.
Right.
And everyone here has amazing stories to tell. You know, it doesn't have to be some big thing that's going to end up in a history book. It just could be anything. And that was what drove me to want to talk to all of our city staff that have been on here. And we've got some other episodes in the wings right now that are coming with some other staff after yours. But we don't ever get the chance to just talk to each other.
Right.
And as the city staff, because we're here, we're working, we're busy. You're out on calls, I'm taking care of something in there, somebody else is doing something. We don't ever get to just sit down and talk about, hey, what do you do for fun? You know, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? We don't ever get to do that.
And we've established that.
Yeah. And so that's kind of chocolate.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Strawberry.
But that's the whole premise behind this. And I feel like the spoken word, obviously this is on video, but even if it was just a voice podcast, some of the research that I did on podcasting shows that it is the fastest rising, what's the right word for it? Media platform or medium being consumed by, I think, the next unnamed generation. You know how you have Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, all that. So whatever this next generation is coming up, I read something just recently that said that podcasts are almost catching up to video as far as their go-to for getting information. And I was reading that and I'm thinking, that's astonishing to me, because as attention spans get shorter, you know, this program right now has gone on, we're right at 40 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean,
I feel like it's only been like 10.
But there you go. So it goes by quick. And I think that's one of the things that this type of format does. And you get to know people. Nobody sits down and talks and tells stories quite like they used to. People still do, but that's what drives me to do this. I absolutely love it. And so your third podcast that's coming up is very centered around this type of thing. So now
it is.
After that long introduction, tell us what it is.
Well, I wanted you to be. Well, I came to you. You were first in my mind whenever I was thinking about coming to try to find some assistance with this because of your love for the community as well. We share that, and there's only so many stories I can tell on TN Roll Call when it comes to community-based that, it's going to be related to it. So I have started, and it's already up now. There's just nothing on it, OurTullahoma.com, OUR Tullahoma.com. Mm-hmm. And what I'm doing, I'm taking podcasting and I am focusing on the stories, the people, the businesses here in Tullahoma. And I'm still trying to figure out all the stuff with it, but it's what I would love for it to be is just a nice, a segment of business spotlights to where, you can't really know a whole lot about it, especially a small business. Mm-hmm. In a 30-second commercial where it's a lot of commercials now, they have tigers and animations and all like that, but really get to see the business and what did they do and what did they offer. So, it might be like a 3 or 4 minute segment of just, hey, what do we have here? Because I've noticed, and again, coming from Grundy County, I mean, I love my county, but it just wasn't a lot of resources there. You could really stay in Tullahoma and not have to really go anywhere else. If you were talking about your needs and your wants, you've got really everything you need right here. Mm-hmm. And I want that to be promoted. I wanted people to see, what is in their backyard here. Mm-hmm. And so that was one thing. But the people, I would like to sit down with a lot of the people, that what they do, and then where you come in, because I know you're a big history guy. Mm-hmm. And I would love to be able to know a lot of those stories, because I guarantee I don't know a fraction of the stories here. Yeah. And, I think in me doing this podcast, I'm probably going to be the one over here doing this more than the actual viewer, and I'm supposed to be hosting the thing. But yeah, that's my plan. I've already did one thing, but just a kind of an idea. It's a business here in Tullahoma. They let me come in and kind of just do what my vision is on that. So you can see that now on Our Tullahoma. Let's see. I know I've got it on TikTok. I think I got it on YouTube. I can't remember. I'll have to go check. But I know it's on OurTullahoma.com. Yeah,
and I think that one of the cool things about that is that you work here. Mm-hmm. This is the city that you work in. It's my adopted city. It's your adopted city. Right. Neither one of us were born here, but this is where we ended up. That's important to me to hear those stories. Mm-hmm. You think about, we have the oldest shoe store in Tennessee here in Tullahoma. We were just talking in the hallway before we came in. We have the largest willow oak.
And see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, here in Tullahoma.
There's a picture right outside your office of it, and I'm like, why does Lyle have a picture of a tree? I mean, it's a tree, and it's not a picture of a tree. It's like right there at the bottom looking up, and you have 2 pictures of it. And I'm like, okay, Lyle definitely likes strawberry ice cream. He's got 2 pictures of trees from the bottom up here. But no, you said it was the biggest oak in Tennessee.
Biggest willow oak.
Biggest willow oak in Tennessee. That's amazing.
Yeah. So we have that's what I'm getting at, is you have all these little pockets of just really cool stories and things that people who have lived here for years don't even know. Mm-hmm. That's what drives me to do this. And it sounds to me, based on what you told me there, it sounds like that's what drives you too a little bit.
It is. And it kind of, again, it goes back to it, the love of podcasting and the love of your community and just being able to do it. It's not going as quick as I would wished it would go, because, I have a full-time. Mm-hmm. The full-time, takes a lot of my time away. I've got the family stuff. When I know I'm podcasting too much whenever I go home and my to-do list, it doesn't get any smaller. Mm-hmm. And, my wife, bless her heart, she supports me, but you can tell I've got to get my honeydews in there, because I'm not doing those quick enough. And so it's a nice little balance, but it's not going as quick as I want it to. But I'm hoping to come out with a pilot episode pretty soon.
I found you're talking about not coming out as quick as you like. So my personal one that I do, there's some big gaps. I don't record an episode a month. Sometimes it might go 3 or 4, 8 months before I put out a new episode. I started getting a little bit of hate mail
Really?
Yes, because people were like, when are you going to put something else out?
That's not a bad thing.
No, and so when I first got one, I was like, dude, I'm doing this for fun. Don't give me grief over this.
But don't take it as grief. Don't take it as grief, because that means you put something out there that somebody was interested in, and they're wanting. So I don't consider that hate mail.
Yeah, initially I did, but then the more, like you said, the more I thought about it, the more I thought that's not necessarily a bad thing. That just means I need to get more motivated. So,
well, but like you said, you've got those stories, and you know a lot more, stories than I know anywhere near here about here in Tullahoma, and I want that. As somebody, that's something that I'm going to invest my time in to listen to and, get some more information about my community. And like you said, podcasting is the platform that a lot of people use to do that.
Yeah, especially reaching that younger demographic, because I can't speak for all, professions that we have here. But I think that I'm going to go with junior in high school and younger. The city has a very difficult time figuring out a way to reach that crowd. Mm-hmm. And I say that because, we invest a pretty heavy amount of the city funds into education. Right. And I'm not sure that the kids even know that.
So probably not.
The parents, I don't think, know that either.
And there is a disconnect.
But if you can find a way to reach that kid, that junior and younger, and when I read that podcasting was a way to do that, my first thought was, well, gold mine, here we are.
Well, but it's also having to adapt, because back in the day, our form of what would be podcasting day was radio.
Correct.
You had no internet. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to watch a show, you actually had to be at home at a particular time. You couldn't just, the next day go and pull it up on your phone or on the television. That you had to be there,
right? And
it was commercialized. You didn't unless you had the money to pay for a premium channel. You had to sit through, a bunch of commercial stuff like that, especially in the same thing on the radio. So, it is trying to keep up with the times and trying to, be able to reach the younger audience as well as what we have become.
And I think tying that back into policing, reaching that younger audience too, I read enough stories nationwide, when you work in the public information, you also consume public information. And so I see what goes on in some other cities, and I try to watch what some of the other PIOs and things are saying on TV. And the one that I really pay a lot of attention to is when they're dealing with a juvenile case. And I'm hearing from my peers in my profession, that's the hard part for them, is they're not finding ways to reach those kids, especially when it comes to law enforcement. That basically, let's call it junior, or I called it junior high. It's not junior high; it's middle school here. Mm-hmm. That age and younger is really hard to reach when it comes to law enforcement. And I think Tullahoma Police Department has done an outstanding job of getting in front of those kids. The fire department does as well.
Yeah.
What's been your experience with that? Have you had any outreach with the kids?
Well, I think a big portion of that goes with our SROs, our school resource officers. Sergeant Willie Young is in charge of that. And I see Sergeant Willie Young as the Swiss Army knife of policing. He can do anything. I have seen Sergeant Young de-escalate some of the most outrageous situations, and I've seen him have to go hands-on before. He can do it all. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a huge part of it. He leads a great group of SROs. Recently, we had Sergeant George Dodson and his crew go out and give out popsicles. Yeah. They're actually, we were talking about in a meeting earlier, they're going to be doing that again coming up, I believe, at D.W. Wilson.
Yes, coming up here in another week or so.
Here in a little bit. And that, Sergeant Dodson is always looking for those programs. You have Corporal Blackburn, who is also an SRO, who does the bowling with badges.
Correct. Right.
And that's where we pair up a bunch of kids to officers, and we just go bowling for a night. Nothing more, just having a good time bowling. Lieutenant Brooke Arthur that I brought up, she does the National Night Out here, and that's something for all ages. You got the bounce houses and stuff like that for the little kids, and then you've got the information booths for the adults. And the city of Tullahoma, all the way, and the fire department you mentioned, I've seen them go to schools all the time. And I know here recently they were at Bel Air and they were just spraying water on all the kids. And they were just, I mean, they would rather do that, I bet, than anything at home. Mm-hmm. Tullahoma, you know, as hard as I would say it is to reach people of that age for us, because we just don't connect as easy, mm-hmm. Tullahoma's done phenomenal. And
Agreed 1,000%.
They from every aspect, I can sit here and brag about Parks and Rec. I can sit here and brag about first responder. Even down to the Public Works Department. Mm-hmm. This is just a great community, and we all come together and we all fit together so well. And so reaching the young people, I think Tullahoma does a great job.
And that's where I tie that back together with what you're doing now. You mentioned all those other officers and other departments, but now you've got the potential with your podcast to reach that age demographic that's previously been almost unreachable.
I hope so. I hope so. Again, I don't have that whole understanding, and I recognize that. I know mm-hmm. that's a kind of a weakness. I know what I did when I was that age, and
right.
Again, it was AM radio, you know, and Andy Griffith, you know, and all that stuff, which I'm sure, I know my daughter, bless her heart, she's probably so tired of hearing that whistling song on Andy Griffith. And I feel so sorry for her. Well,
for me, it was my grandmother. She was the same. She didn't watch TV very much, but she had the radio on all the time. Mm-hmm. Two things came on that one of them was repetitive, but one, the first time I heard it, that's what hooked me. So she used to listen to a radio station that played Paul Harvey. And for those of you who remember who Paul Harvey is, you know what I'm talking about.
The rest of the story.
That's right. And now the rest of the story. I listened to that to the point where, people think, oh, that's just an old person thing, listen to that. No, it wasn't. Because even when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, I was listening to it because it was cool stuff. Mm-hmm. But the one that got me was the first time I heard the radio version of War of the Worlds by Orson Welles.
That was a huge thing that happened back in the day. Oh,
yeah. Well, that's what got me hooked on. Well, especially now, modern times, we can do podcasting, but radio, when mm-hmm. I heard that and that storytelling, I didn't grow up when they had like the little Orphan Annie shows and stuff like that. But when War of the Worlds was on, everyone in the house needed to shut up because I wanted to listen. Y'all quit talking. I need to. I need to hear this.
Well, you couldn't.
There's aliens landing. You know?
Well, you couldn't. This is such an awesome War of the Worlds. Was an awesome thing to talk about when it comes to journalism responsibility, mm-hmm. too. Because back when the World of the Worlds first came out, if I remember correctly, it was like the 40s. Mm-hmm. They were doing this like it was for real. Now, on the radio. It was just another show, but people were really, okay, this is a real thing happening, and the panic was involved. And that's where your job as a PIO would have to come into play as being stressful for me, because you could really be a cause for a lot of negative mm-hmm. if you mess up.
Oh, yeah.
You come to work having a bad day, you can cause a lot of people to have a bad day just by what you put out there in the public. And that's a perfect example.
Yeah, they would have fooled me because I would have fell for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I got my tinfoil hat at home ready for just the occasion.
Mine's in my office.
Well, good. Got to be ready.
All right. Well, is there anything else we need to talk about?
Well, I don't think. Do we even have any time?
Oh yeah, I've got plenty of battery life. They're good.
Well, that's awesome. No, thank you thank you for what you do for the city, because
I appreciate
that. Is I see what you put out, and I know that's probably just a fraction of what you do, but I see what you put out there in the public and having that transparency. Love that. I see, the first time I think I ever saw an owl up close was on your shoulder. And I think
that was at National Night Out.
That was at National Night Out. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing you out there with this thing on your shoulder that I wouldn't get next to. I mean, God bless you for what you do, but something that with claws of that nature, I don't need to be near. We go back to the whittling.
So you think whittling leaves scars? You should see what some of these birds
No, thank
leave.
you. No, thank you. I might even try strawberry ice cream before I would even get close to one of those.
I'm going to video it if you do.
You are not. No, thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right.
To come out there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to wrap this show up here, and we'd like to do the Bob Barker sign off. If you have pets, cats, dogs out there, make sure you spay and neuter your pets. Help us control that unwanted pet population. You even get sound effects on this show. How about that?
Well, that's 73 subscribers on YouTube.
That's right. 74 now. So
you're not a subscriber to my YouTube?
I am.
Okay.
I am. I'm talking about the people watching at home. You're going to get 76 at least.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah. 76.
I'm going to hold you to it.
Go out and find Rocky's show, The Man, the Myth, the Legend, Sergeant Rocky Ruehling from the Tullahoma Police Department. Ladies and gentlemen of Tullahoma, have a great rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.